I always call that focusing on growth, giving, and gratitude. It's like, if you can live from that place and you surround yourself with other people who are like that, they help make you more of that kind of a person. If you're hanging around a bunch of people who are happy where they're at, they're not really looking to move forward, then you're going to start falling into that complacency. But if you're around a bunch of people who are growing and learning, you're going to be more excited about doing that. Same with giving, same with living with kindness and gratitude. I think it's super important. So you worked a long portion of your career for RE/MAX, helping to grow that company into being one of the largest real estate platforms out there. Talk to me a little bit about your path towards financial freedom. How much of your financial freedom that you've achieved came from the business that you really invested your life to help build? And how did you look at investing playing a role, knowing that you had a great mentor who was investing around you? I'd love to learn from some of those lessons that you learn from your mentor.
Well, when you work for a public company, and we went public probably 8 years after I started there. So we had a 401k match, and you'd have bonus programs and things like that. And I knew that if I worked towards hitting bonuses, hitting numbers, things of that nature, I would be rewarded, and it would give me an opportunity to invest that money. So it was a combination of that, as well as, you have other smaller income streams here and there. I did some keynote speaking every now and then, or some coaching every now and then. And it's a function of, I got this money, instead of going out and, sure, cool watches and pens and cars and stuff like that are great and fine, reward yourself, but make sure you're also rewarding your bank account when you get a bonus. So like my wife and I would, when a bonus would come in, she would get a bonus prize. I would get a bonus prize. The kids would get a bonus prize of some sort, like, we would go to Disney or something like that. But the rest of that money went into investments. And I knew that as I continued to grow over time with all of these investments, as well as any sort of stock or, shares of the organization that were awarded through hard work that way, through equity awards, it was a combination of building it throughout that. So was a lot of it from RE/MAX? Yeah, because I wanted to be the best I could be at RE/MAX.
Of course.
And I knew if I was, then I would have opportunities. Becoming the CEO, for instance. I mean, that's, you want to create wealth. And if you have an opportunity to go be a CEO, go do it, for crying out loud, because it's definitely a good tailwind for that.
Yeah, no, I love that. I think a lot of people get it twisted when they think about investing. They think, hey, well, I need to stop working at my job, or that's the goal, or that's the plan. It can be, if that's your goal, is to be able to retire early, great. But oftentimes, if you can find work that you love, that you're passionate about, where you're growing, where you're learning, where you're surrounded by other people who are all doing the same, you can be rewarded very well financially, and then have the opportunity to then funnel that money into assets that pay you. So let's talk a little bit about that from an investment perspective. What kind of investments have you liked? Obviously, you work for a public company. You probably own a lot of stock in that company and other companies in the markets. What other types of things have you looked at? Have you been owning real estate that you owned and managed? Have you invested in funds and syndications, other types of private equity? What types of deals have you liked that have been, worked out well for you?
Well, I'll tell you, probably one of the best things I've ever done is hire a really, really good money manager. So I do utilize one of the largest wealth banks out there to manage a lot of my wealth, but it's active with me. We have conversations constantly about what's going on in the markets. I'm very aware. A lot of people are like, they put their money someplace and they leave it there, and they're like, after 20 years, I'll have enough for retirement, that's a bunch of garbage, because things change. I mean, even large Fortune 500 companies go out of business. So you have to be active and aware and secure and diversified in what you're doing. So, one of the best things I ever did was hire somebody to do that for me. And he's got access to my cash, and we have a whole bunch of short-term bonds and things that I can access relatively quickly. But I also have some long-term dividend paying value stocks in really good organizations in a diversified manner. I'm a big fan of just finding good dividend paying stocks and just continuing to roll those things. Don't go after them unless you need them. And you should be living at a means where you don't need to touch those things, but that you can keep adding to them. Everybody's like, I want passive income. I'm like, don't you want to have purpose? Because that's cool if you want to go sit on the beach every day, but I go to the beach like 6 times a year and I go to the mountains like 20 times a year. And I love having purpose of building businesses and investing my money and having a scorecard of my successes and my goals and things like that. So it's a combination. I've got probably a third in real estate that my wife and I have. She was a real estate agent. So, we're good there. It's done very, very well for us. We've probably tripled, quadrupled that value in the short term, over the past, call it decade or so. But ultimately, a lot of our secure investments, and, we have a risk meter on everything we do. We have some that are risky, some that aren't risky. But, we also have the ability to say, I've got the cash if I need to for, if the entire economy falls apart, I can survive. I'm good. And I think you just have to look at it holistically from a big picture perspective, be diversified, be safe. You got all these people that ran out and maxed all their credit cards out on NFTs and Bitcoin. Yeah. And what happened to them? And I'll be the first to tell you, I don't have any crypto, but I was like this close to getting into crypto. Yeah. And I'm like, oh, okay. Well, I didn't know anything about it, but I know everything about all the businesses I'm in. So I'm not blind to what we're investing in, and it's diversified and it's kind of fun to play with.
Well, there's a bunch of gold within there. I encourage listeners to really rewind back and listen to that again. But one thing that I think you pointed out is that you've got an amazing money manager. You've got an amazing team of people who are experts, and you're actively managing those investments, meaning you're not just placing them and praying that it's all going to work out. You have somebody who is an expert in understanding where your money should be, and you're actively a part of that discussion, making those decisions. I think a lot of people, they go and get a financial advisor, and if they don't have the knowledge themselves to be able to ask the right questions and be able to make those decisions, can put them in a bad position.
Right. And I'll be the first one to tell you that I know a lot of people who've gotten into, being financial advisors, and there's nothing more scary than like when your cousin says, hey, I got my certification and I'd love to manage your money for you. And you look at him, you're like, you're driving a 2001, piece of junk car with 300,000 miles on it because you can't afford to get a new one. And you're living in an apartment. Where's your money? So that was one of my questions of my financial advisor is, whose money do you manage? Yeah. How much do you have? And show me your track record here. And then what resources do you have? Because, if something happens to him, he's got a team, and you hit the nail on the head. It's a good, solid team of people. There's an attorney on there. There's analysts on there. There's, a concierge that I can pick up the phone and go, hey, what's going on with this? Send me this. Or here's the other reality is I can borrow against sending this money for great interest rates too. Any of my investments, I can pick up the phone and go, I need $2 million to go buy this place. And they're like, okay, we'll send it to you right now. So, it's about the big picture of knowing how to do it right. And I would challenge anybody who's watching YouTube videos and saying, oh, I'm going to go do that, to just pump the brakes for a second and go figure out who's a professional that can help you with this. Sure, you pay a little commission, but for crying out loud, they should be making you money instead of costing you money.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. I think one of the things is people get excited about investing, and I believe it's something to get excited about, but it's so important to actually pause, invest in yourself, start learning some of the key skills and knowledge that you need to be able to make good decisions, to be able to find good supportive team members, experts who are great at what they do, so that when you do make those decisions to invest, it's from a place of confidence instead of making a bad investment and then thinking there's something wrong with investing when it actually comes down to where you started from. But there's something else that you mentioned that I think is really important to underline, and you really alluded to it, but it's really kind of this dream life vision, the kind of life that you want to live. You mentioned that you want to have purpose and you want to have growth and you want to be working towards that mission. A lot of successful people that I talk with aren't looking to go hang out on a beach and retire early. And so I absolutely relate to that. And I think it's so important for people to get clear on what they want and why they want it, and get clear on what's the purpose of the investments. Because, you know, for me, the reason that passive income is important is that I'm building a mission-based business, and I'm going to keep grinding. I'm going to keep working, and I'm going to keep enjoying the process. I don't ever plan on stopping. But I do know just from real life personal experience that, you know, life can be shorter than we think it's going to be. Maybe 3 or 4 years ago, 3.5 years ago at this point, my sister passed away in a car accident. I think when that happened and you lose somebody so close to you, my younger sister, it makes you realize just how fragile life can be, and that it's actually, these kind of things are inevitable. And I don't say that from a place of let's be negative, but realistically, anything can happen at any time. And so the reason that it's important to be smart with your investments and to make passive income, or at least make sure that your family can be taken care of if something happens to you. But what I'd love to hear from you is a little bit about what your life vision is. What's important to you? I know you're in the middle of a transition. You're excited about acquiring new businesses. You've got an incredible skill set. You've built an incredible amount of wealth. Like, what's next for you? What emotions you want to feel? What things you want to do? What are you excited about? And kind of what's that mission that you're working towards?
So first of all, I want to do what I want to do. And let me back up for a second. Darren Hardy told me that his definition of success: I want to do what I want to do, when I want to do it, where I want to do it, how I want to do it, with who I want to do it with. Okay. So think about all those things. And, you know, all the guys that I know, I hang out, I'm part of a mastermind group, and there are multiple billionaires in this mastermind group, and a lot of guys creating a great deal of wealth. But I'll tell you, every single one of us has a lot of fun every day. Now, you deal with challenges. Okay. You know, you have an employee who's stealing from you, or, you know, there's a litigation situation that pops up because somebody accuses somebody of something else. Who knows what it is? And there are these frustrations that happen. Maybe you have to, you know, remove a business entity from your portfolio because it's underperforming. Who knows what it is? But we all have challenges. We all look at these challenges as opportunities to learn about this aspect of business. There's always going to be something. And a lot of people, I think, that are like, I want to retire early, I want to do nothing. They're trying to run from dealing with challenges in life. Where the reality is we thrive on growing from those challenges. And this group of guys that I hang out with, my business partners, we all look at it and go, you know, we have a saying, it's supposed to be fun. So I'm just going to continue to do what I'm doing, buying businesses, building businesses, investing in businesses. And I'll tell you, the best way to invest in a business is to own 100% of it, I believe. You know, because you don't have to deal with explaining something to somebody else. You can make the decisions and just move on. But it's about creating opportunities for other people. And Dave Liniger told me once, he goes, a great business person creates an environment where people can be as successful as they want to be. Let me say that again. You create an environment where people can be as successful as they want to be. And then you go find people who want to be extraordinarily freaking successful and then help them grow. He's made more millionaires than probably anybody else on this planet under Remax and with his business franchises and things of that nature. You know, I'll be the first one to say that I've been able to follow in his footsteps, but it's because I've been able to learn from him, and I followed one of his key rules, and that's be a sponge. Learn something new every day, but don't just learn something new, give it back.
Mm.
So I guess to circle around and really answer your question, Steven, I'm buying businesses, I'm building businesses. I believe in scale, and it can be frustrating at times, sure, because you always run into challenges. Try getting a building permit these days. It's a little difficult, but it's fun. I mean, we just got a building permit yesterday on one of our new businesses, and we're like, all right, this is awesome. Now we can go to a grand opening, things like that. So, it's a function of, and MIT Sloan talked about this with, enterprise leadership, this builder to broker. And so you become a builder in life. And then after you've been a really good builder in life, you've learned your craft and developed it really well, you start augmenting that with being a broker. So you're a builder and a broker, but you're brokering ideas and you're brokering businesses and you're brokering growth as you're building yourself and as you're building upon these things. So I live by those two words, builder and broker. How do I do both of those things in order to grow the business? And we're going to, I intend to buy with my partners here, probably a couple businesses a year. We buy cash flow businesses. It's great because as you get this extra cash flow that, at some point you have a great, comfortable lifestyle, and all the rest of it just goes into investments. You're like, awesome.
Mm. Yeah, I love that. And I love what you talked about in particular, that you're surrounded by other people who are on this same path, who think like you think, who are building businesses themselves. And so you have that supportive network that really reinforces these beliefs. Something else that I really want to underline is that you talked about it's supposed to be fun. I think a lot of business owners, when they're running it, they get so stressed out and serious, or maybe people who are working in a career or job, they forget that if they bring that energy and attitude of making it fun, if you don't like what you do something else, make a change. Like I personally never really want to retire because I love what I do. And if I don't love what I do, I'm going to change what I'm doing. I'm going to find a different way to do it, and with different people, and really be in that kind of position, because from that place, there's always something new. There's always that growth that can happen. I feel like if you stop growing, you're going to stop feeling that feeling of fulfillment, which I really do think is such a core piece. You have to be giving back and making an impact and doing something in the world to really be able to live up to your true purpose.
Thank you for listening to the Investor Mindset Podcast. If you like what you heard, make sure to rate, review, subscribe, and share it with a friend. Head over to theinvestormindset.com to join the Insider Club, where we share tools and strategies from the top investors and entrepreneurs on how to take it to the next level.